OpenAI's Operator might just be the start of AI taking over your browser, and it's a little terrifying. This launched in January 2025, and it's not your typical AI chatbot sitting around waiting for questions. Operator's out there using a web browser like a person, clicking links, typing words, and even ordering your groceries if you ask it to. I've been looking into this since it dropped, and it's got some real potential to shake up how we deal with daily tasks or even how companies handle their workloads. In this video, we're going to go through what it is, how it works, why it could matter to you, and where it's headed. Let's start with what Operator actually is. It's an AI agent from OpenAI, the same group that made ChatGPT, and it's currently available to people in the US who pay $200 a month for the ChatGPT Pro plan. They call it a research preview, which just means it's an early version they're testing out with a smaller crowd before letting everyone in. What's different about it is that it's not just talking to you, it's doing things. It gets its own browser and can mess around on the internet, doing tasks you'd normally handle yourself. That's a pretty big deal because it's the first time OpenAI's made something that could step out of the chat box and actually affect things in the real world, like booking a flight or filling out a form. Now, how does it pull this off? Well, it's running on a new system OpenAI built called the Computer Using Agent, or CUA. This is based on GPT-4.0, which is the latest tech behind ChatGPT, and it's got some extra tricks up its sleeve. GPT-4.0 could already look at pictures and figure out what's in them, but CUA adds something called reinforcement learning. That's a way of training AI where it tries things, sees what works, and gets better over time, like learning by trial and error. They've taught it to deal with what you see on a web page. Buttons, menus, text fields, all the components we call a graphical user interface. Here's how it operates in practice. Operator takes a screenshot of whatever web page it's on, looks at it, and figures out what's what, like spotting a submit button or a search bar. Then it decides what to do. Click here, type there, scroll down a bit. It's mimicking how you'd use a mouse and keyboard, but it's all happening in its own little browser world, not on your actual computer. The great part is it doesn't need websites to have special backdoors or APIs to work with it. It just uses what's already there, the same way you would. If it gets confused, say by a weird layout, it can either try to sort itself out or stop and ask you to take over for a second. Let's walk through that a bit more because it's worth understanding how this fits together. Say you tell Operator to buy you some concert tickets. You type that into its interface at operator.chatgpt.com, and it fires up its browser. It might head to a site like StubHub, search for the show, pick some seats based on what you said, and start filling out the checkout page. It's looking at the screen through those screenshots, deciding where to click next, and typing in details like your name or address. If it hits the payment section, it'll pause and wait for you to enter your card info. More on why it does that later. That's the process. See, think, act, repeat. So, what can it do for you right now? The examples they've shown are pretty practical. It can order groceries off a site like Instacart, go through your list, and add items to the cart. It can book a restaurant table on OpenTable, picking a time and party size you tell it. It's even done silly tasks like making memes, which shows it's got some flexibility. The idea is to take over those repetitive, click-heavy jobs you'd rather skip. For a business, it could handle things like answering basic customer questions online or filling out forms, all without needing someone to code a special connection to every website. Let's dig into why that's useful. For you or me, it's about time. If you're spending 20 minutes hunting down a flight deal, Operator might do it in 5, leaving you with 15 minutes to do something else. That adds up if you're doing it every week. For a company, it could mean dealing with customers faster. Imagine it booking appointments or processing orders without a human clicking through every step. There's also a bigger possibility, like in government offices where things move slowly. If Operator can speed up those processes, it might make life easier for people who don't get along with tech or long wait times. That's the kind of thing that could really shift how we use the internet. But anything touching the web comes with risks. So let's talk about how they're handling safety and privacy. Operator's set up so you're still in charge. When it gets to something important, like typing in your password or sending money, it stops and waits for you to do it. They call it takeover mode, and it turns off screenshots so your sensitive information doesn't get recorded. You can also go into your ChatGPT settings and tell it not to use your data to get smarter. Plus, there's a button to erase its browsing history whenever you want. They've also built in some guards against shady websites that'll make it pause if something seems fishy. That's all there to keep you from losing control or getting into trouble. People in the AI world are taking notice, and they've got thoughts. Andrej Karpathy, who's worked on some massive AI projects with Tesla and OpenAI, said Operator is like a robot for the digital world. Kind of how real robots work in factories. And he thinks the next 10 years, 2025 to 2035, are going to be all about these kinds of agents. That makes sense when you see how having a browser opens up so many options for AI, way more than just chatting. But OpenAI is not the only one playing here. Anthropic's got a tool called Computer Use that moves your mouse around, and Google's Project Mariner is capable of browser interaction too. More are probably coming soon, and that's keeping everyone on their toes. It's not perfect though, and that's worth breaking down. Since it's a research preview, it's still learning, and it messes up sometimes. If a website's got a complicated setup, like making a slideshow or juggling a calendar, it might click the wrong thing or just freeze. When that happens, you've got to step in and fix it, which can feel like you're doing half the work anyway. Right now, it's only in the US because other places like Europe have stricter rules about tech like this. And you need that $200 a month plan to even try it, so it's not exactly open to everyone yet. They're taking it slow to figure out the kinks, which is probably smart. What's next for Operator? OpenAI's got some ideas. They're thinking about letting developers use CUA through an API so anyone could build their own version, like one just for travel or shopping. They want to make it better at tougher, longer tasks too, like planning out a whole trip instead of just one flight. Down the line, they might roll it into ChatGPT itself, so you don't need the fancy plan to use it. That all depends on how this test run goes and what people say about it, but it's clear they're aiming to make it a bigger deal. Operator's showing us what automation could look like when AI gets out of the chat bubble and starts doing tasks online. It's not there yet. Mistakes and limits keep it from being a total takeover. But it's got real promise. What do you think about OpenAI's Operator? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.